What if the most famous lost city isn't lost at all, but hidden in plain sight, waiting to rewrite human history? For centuries, Atlantis has captivated imaginations, a mythical utopia, a warning of hubris, and perhaps even a forgotten truth buried beneath the oceans. But as new archaeological discoveries surface and groundbreaking theories emerge, one question continues to echo through time. Is Atlantis more than just a legend? Imagine a civilization, grander than any we know, swallowed by the sea in a single, terrible day. Is it simply a story? Or could it be evidence of a lost chapter in human history? Today, we journey into the heart of the Atlantis mystery, through ancient texts, archaeological enigmas, and modern science, to unravel whether this tale belongs to mythology, archaeology, or the remnants of a forgotten civilization. The story of Atlantis begins not with explorers, sailors, or adventurers, but with a philosopher. Around 360 BCE, Plato, one of the greatest thinkers of the ancient world, wrote two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. In them, Plato described a powerful island empire, Atlantis, situated beyond the Pillars of Heracles, the ancient term for what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. According to him, Atlantis was a vast kingdom, larger than Libya and Asia combined, blessed with rich resources, grand palaces, and a highly organized society. Its people were said to be skilled in engineering, architecture, and governance. They built concentric rings of land and water, temples coated in precious metals, and fleets of ships that dominated the seas. But this wasn't just a paradise. Plato described Atlantis as a civilization that grew arrogant, greedy, and corrupt. Its ambitions turned to conquest, as its armies stretched across the Mediterranean. Eventually, they clashed with ancient Athens. And then, the climax of the tale. In a single day and night of misfortune, Atlantis was swallowed by the sea, vanishing beneath the waves forever. To Plato, Atlantis was both a cautionary tale and a philosophical allegory, a story about the dangers of pride and the inevitable fall of empires. But here lies the mystery. Did Plato invent Atlantis purely as a metaphor, or was he drawing on older traditions, passing down a memory of a real, forgotten place? Plato's writings quickly became a subject of fascination. In antiquity, some philosophers dismissed Atlantis as allegory, while others treated it as history. His student, Aristotle, is said to have doubted its existence, calling it a fable. Yet, later writers like Crantor of Soli traveled to Egypt to confirm Plato's account, reportedly finding inscriptions in Egyptian temples that spoke of a lost civilization destroyed by the sea. In the Roman world, historians like Pliny the Elder speculated about sunken lands and vanished cultures. Atlantis wasn't universally believed, but it wasn't dismissed either. Through the Middle Ages, the legend of Atlantis faded into the background, overshadowed by biblical narratives of the flood and the Tower of Babel. But during the Renaissance, a rebirth of classical knowledge brought Atlantis back into the spotlight. Explorers and scholars began connecting Plato's tale to the newly discovered Americas. Could Atlantis have been a distant memory of the New World, rich in gold and advanced civilizations? Spanish chroniclers even linked the Aztecs, Mayans, and Incas to Atlantis, suggesting that Plato's vanished empire might have been located across the Atlantic Ocean. Thus, Atlantis evolved, from a Greek allegory to a symbol of exploration, utopia, and mystery. By the Enlightenment, Atlantis had become more than just a curiosity. Scholars, adventurers, and even scientists began weaving theories about its possible location. Some placed it in the Mediterranean, pointing to islands like Crete or Santorini, where the eruption of the Thera volcano around 1600 BC devastated the Minoan civilization. Could Plato's Atlantis be a memory of this catastrophic event? Others turned west, to the Caribbean, arguing that islands like Cuba or the Bahamas might be remnants of a sunken continent. The 19th century gave Atlantis an even larger stage. Writers such as Ignatius Donnelly published influential works that claimed Atlantis was the cradle of all civilization, the origin of Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and even Native American cultures. Donnelly's ideas captivated the Victorian public, inspiring everything from early archaeology to occult movements. In his eyes, Atlantis wasn't just a lost island. it was the mother of human progress. As modern archaeology took shape in the 20th century, the search for Atlantis shifted from speculation to investigation. Excavations on the island of Crete uncovered the ruins of the Minoan civilization, with its sprawling palaces and advanced infrastructure. The destruction of this culture by volcanic eruption, earthquakes, and tsunamis strongly resembled Plato's tale. Many scholars argued that the Minoans were Atlantis. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic, underwater structures like the Bimini Road in the Bahamas sparked theories of submerged cities. Though many scientists dismissed them as natural rock formations, others insisted they hinted at human construction. In the Mediterranean, Santorini revealed its own haunting clues. The eruption of Thera left behind ash layers, sunken towns, and evidence of a sudden disaster that aligned eerily with Plato's timeline. But despite compelling parallels, no definitive proof has emerged. The ruins remain enigmatic, suggestive, but inconclusive. Today, the question of Atlantis straddles the line between history and pseudoscience. Mainstream scholars argue that Plato's story was allegory, inspired by real events like the fall of the Minoans, but exaggerated into myth. Yet alternative theorists continue to propose bold possibilities. That Atlantis lies beneath Antarctica, frozen under ice for millennia. That it rests in the Caribbean, buried under rising seas after the last ice age. That advanced civilizations predating recorded history, sometimes linked to the mysterious Younger Dryas period, around 12,000 years ago, were wiped out by cataclysmic floods, echoing global flood myths. The idea of a lost civilization resonates with cultures worldwide. From Mesopotamian flood epics to Native American legends, stories of great cities destroyed by water persist. Could these be cultural memories of real events, woven into mythology over thousands of years? Atlantis is not just a subject of scholarship, it has become a cultural phenomenon. From novels to films, comic books to video games, the lost city continues to inspire creators. To some, Atlantis represents a utopian dream, a golden age of wisdom and technology. To others, it is a warning of hubris, echoing civilizations that rise and fall. The legend endures because it speaks to a universal human desire, the yearning to uncover hidden truths, to believe that somewhere out there lies a piece of history that could redefine everything we know. So, is Atlantis myth, archaeology, or forgotten civilization? The truth may lie in the blurred lines between legend and history. Plato's tale could be pure allegory, or it could preserve the distant memory of a real catastrophe. Perhaps it was inspired by the fall of the Minoans, or perhaps it echoes even older, prehistoric floods that reshaped the human story. What remains undeniable is the power of the Atlantis myth. It has shaped exploration, inspired generations, and continues to push archaeologists, historians, and dreamers to look beyond the ordinary. Whether Atlantis was ever real may not be the point. Its story reminds us of the fragility of civilizations, the mysteries of our past, and the possibility that history still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. What if Atlantis isn't lost at all, but waiting for us to see it, not beneath the waves, but in the ruins, myths, and forgotten truths that connect all of humanity? The enigma remains. And until we find it, or prove it never existed, Atlantis will continue to haunt the edge of history, half in myth, half in memory, and entirely irresistible.